Alright, hi guys. So when I decided to do my presentation or my policy or law, I decided I wanted to do something with the LGBT community. So after looking around and thinking of ideas, I was actually surprised to learn that LGBT employees do not have the federal law protection for workplace discrimination. So the law that I kind of came up with was a law that would help out with that, and it says a federal law that prohibits discrimination to all the LGBT population in the workplace. And here showing a graph, the percent of LGBT population covered by laws, kind of depicts how many like LGBT people are protected. 47% of LGBT population lives in states prohibiting employment, discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity. So those 47% of the LGBT people are protected. And then 50% of LGBT population lives in states prohibiting employment discrimination based on just sexual orientation. So that means people that are attracted to, the opposite sex, and like bisexuals, gays, and lesbians. And then 50% of LGBT population lives in a state that does not prohibit employment discrimination based on sexual orientation or gender identity. So that's transgender as well. And then here are some statistics that I got. 1 in 4 LGBT employees report experiencing employment discrimination in the last 5 years. So 1 in 4 LGBT people said that they experience discrimination, which is quite a few in the LGBT community, which is astounding. So as you can see, it is obviously a big issue that needs to be addressed. And then nearly half of transgender people were fired or were not promoted due to their gender identity, which is terrible. Just because they chose to be themselves and wanted to express themselves, they got discriminated against for it. So again, there's that graph. Here is also another graph that kind of shows that it's not very good quality, but it kind of gives an idea of how many states actually have laws and how many don't. So the green, dark green states have employment non-discrimination law, covers sexual orientation and gender identity, so it protects both sexual orientation and gender identity. So as you can see, that's not very many states, the dark green ones. And then the lightest green ones, which is not very many, I think it's just like Wisconsin and New Hampshire. Yeah. And then that one, employment non-discrimination law, covers only sexual orientation through federal law, offers some protection, which is not the federal law they're talking about, is not only protects state employees and federal employees, so that's not the private and the public sector employees. And then no employment non-discrimination law covering sexual orientation or gender identity through federal law offers some, again, with the state and the federal employees. So as you can see, which that is the tan box, is a lot of states. So that is just crazy to me that that's even like that. And then this one's like very colorful, but here is another graph showing the employment discrimination laws. So the dark purple, gender identity and sexual orientation are covered. And then all employment, gender identity only in state employment people, so people that are state workers. And then sexual orientation, all employment is the dark blue, which seems to just be Wisconsin. And then sexual orientation and gender identity, state employment only, again, just state And then sexual orientation, state employment only, the blue, light blue, and then no state level protection for LGBT employees, which is quite a few. Crazy. So my policy addresses the problem by making it a federal law that no LGBT can be discriminated in the workplace in every state, and not just the 28 of the states that do have those laws. They state that LGBT, there has to be 15 or more employees to have the law into effect, which should not even be an issue. They should have it for everybody, no matter how many employees you have. And then my expected outcome for this law is that there will be less to non-discrimination to the LGBT at jobs. I think it will work to lower the rate of it. It is a nationwide law with stricter punishments if not followed. So, yeah, and that is my presentation. Thank you.